I'm going to try the sound system out. The broadcast is going to begin in just a minute or two. I mentioned this to some, but most of you couldn't have heard me. I'm sure you couldn't have. Paul will have a microphone, so it's going to pick him up. It's not going to pick you up. So when you ask questions, he's going to try to remember to rephrase your question, but I've done this before. It's hard to remember to do it. And so it can be maddening for listeners. If some are tuning in, you probably will not hear the questions being asked. We might have a conversation with people on the floor, and you won't hear it. It'll drive you nuts, but I promise we'll explain everything when we get back onto the microphone. So watching it can be a challenge. For everyone here, you're going to be able to watch this at your leisure. When you go home, within an hour of the broadcast, we'll get a YouTube link of it that I will then send out to Paul to send out to the rest of you. And then all you do is click on that link, and it's a YouTube video, and you won't have to go through the web page or anything like that. So it will be very easy to go back and look at this if you want to look at it again. So everything has to be on the microphone for people to be able to hear it on the YouTube link. So they're not going to hear you. So you can, don't cost you're in charge, but you can say anything else. You're not going to really be heard. But Paul will be heard, and anyone on the microphone will be heard. And so, actually, when we're getting ready to begin, I'm going to move out of the way. Like I said, I'll send out a link to everyone in our group so that they can watch this again. And then I'll turn it over to Paul.
Am I on? Can you hear me? In my ears, it just sounds like normal me. By the way, try this. Is that any better? How's this? It's green. Yep. Test. There we go. Okay. I have a soft voice. That's the first time anyone has ever said that to me. As I stand here, I just want you to know my German grandmother and my Irish grandmother in heaven are thinking, finally, he found his calling. Sorry, grandmas, I'm not the priest. We are up to approximately 64 people. 2 buses, 2 big buses. The good news is if you receive the email that I sent out, which, by the way, we're getting a lot of them kicked back. So if you know someone who says, I didn't know about the meeting or I didn't get an email, tell them to go into their spam and accept it. And they'll get them from then on. We're at about 64. I say about because we've had a couple that said, yes, I want to go. Then they called and said, hey, I can't go, that type of thing. That's normal. That's normal. If you got my list of hotels, we hit an absolute home run there, folks. 26% of the hotel spaces in the 2- and 3-star hotels in Ireland are occupied by Ukrainians. So how does that affect us? Well, that means that they don't have as many rooms. So those folks come up to the 4-star hotels, which pushes those, which means they start just like at Derby. Oh, you were willing to pay me X? Well, now you're going to pay me X plus because we have people knocking at the door. First time ever. We kind of knew this was coming, which is why we've set up the payment plan. First time ever we've had hotels say, we want a third up front. Now, think about that in the United States. You just don't see that at 4- and 5-star hotels. But that's how short hotel space is. We are trying desperately. This was the main purpose of the meeting. We are trying desperately. I've had 5, I'll call them conferences, with United and Delta. I have not tried American because, quite frankly, their rate of making it and on time is awfully risky. I mean, when you think about the money we're spending to go. If there's a 15% risk that you're not going to get there on time, to me that's just unacceptable. I can't justify that. So here's what Delta says. I contact them, I'm talking to them. They say we've got direct flights to London. Or I'm sorry, wrong trip for me. Direct flights to Dublin. I'm looking at my screen. I'm looking at my other screen, 2 different browsers. One of them I'm logged in Delta SkyMiles, so I know ballpark price. They quote me $1,900 round trip. I'm looking at $1,100 if I book it myself. I tell them, you know, it's America, I'm all for capitalism, but Kamala Harris, if she gets elected, is coming after you guys. I said, what the heck is this? Well, I'm sorry, that's what the price is. That's what the price is. They also have changed their terms, all the airlines. I said, okay, let me get back to you with Delta. I called United. United, as soon as they heard, I told them, I said, I called Delta. They're too high. What can you all do? United came back with $1,100 and $1,600. The problem is this. United can only do 20 on a plane. So those of you that are willing to pay $500 more, if you raise your hand now, exactly. The other problem with United is 10-hour layovers on both flights in Newark, New Jersey. Yeah. So, and I have called back because they all want to know who's your group, what's your name, and I've called back anonymously with different names, different groups. Today I called, and they all open at 8 a.m. So I got the atomic clock going on my screen, and at 7:59:45 I started dialing, and right at 8 it went through, and the guy at Delta said, and I quote, "Can I help you? This is Sam." And I said, okay. I said, is this Delta? No, this is Sam. And I'm thinking, I got the wrong number. And then I said to him, I'm calling for a group booking. You all quoted us $1,900. Yes, sir, that is the price. I said, how the hell do you know? You don't know who I am or where I'm going. How do you know that's the price? Well, if we told you that was the price, that is the price. And I said, okay, in that case, we're now going to South Africa instead of Dublin. No, that cannot be. So he finally gets on, and I told him, look, we don't want to go direct because, as you know, if you take a connector flight, it's less. So I wanted to see how much less. I said, let's do this. He goes, we can get you to Charles de Gaulle. I said, forget Charles de Gaulle. We're not going to France. If they airdropped me, I'm not going to France. Let's take Louisville, Atlanta, Amsterdam over to Dublin. Amsterdam to Dublin is like going from here to Cleveland. It's an hour, hour and a half, if that. He says, all those are booked solid. I said, what? Yes, sir, they're all booked solid. I said, if they're booked solid, how is it I'm looking on my screen right now and there's one available? $1,700. So I'm dealing with, obviously, a third party, okay? So I have emailed Delta directly. I have emailed United. Here's why. I'm talking to Delta this morning, and I get an email from United that says $551. And I thought, oh, this is great. How's this possible? I look, and it's going from Louisville to Newark, Newark to Dublin, then it says Dublin to question mark. I'm not sure where that airport is. I don't know where I don't know how they came up with the 551. And they had it broke into 2 groups again of 20, which is fine. We've done that before with 2 groups. The reason I wanted to call you all here and let you all know this is, A, to let you know this isn't like booking a ticket when you do it yourself. B, you can now see what Delta is going to do with a group rate versus an individual rate. We have before today, we had 62 or so. We had 22 who are booking their own flights. And they know to be at the airport by noon on the 18th. I would encourage you, if you've got to get a friend to help you or anything like that, to book your own flight. And the reason is, I think that savings will justify it. And what we're going to do, so you'll understand the process, we're going to have you all give us your flight number, give us your itinerary, and we're going to be there when you've been to Louisville's airport. Imagine that I'm standing at the top of the escalator as you come in to get your baggage, and I'm checking you off. And then someone else will be down at where you actually go out to the bus. And that's not far. It's from me to Father Gary almost. So we're not going to let you just roam around. And if your flight is late, we've got that contingency covered too. We've got 2 buses. If it would require us to put 50 on a bus and leave the other bus for 10 who are coming in late, we can do that, okay? And we will do that. It's what we want is for you to be calm that you're going to get there. The upside, I'm going to try again with United, because the upside with United is they will fly into Shannon, which is a lot closer to Galway. So if we have some going to Dublin, some going to Shannon, we're covered. We will be there to collect you. You won't have to worry about it, okay? Right. You fly out on the 17th. You land on the 18th. Correct. You can fly early if you want. In fact, I think there's 6 who are going early. They're going to roll at noon on the 18th. Dublin or Shannon? Shannon. Yep. And so if you fly, we would ask if you're doing your own to try Dublin if you can first. And that's Delta, I think American, but United flies into Shannon. The problem with Aer Lingus is the connection. Aer Lingus doesn't fly out of Louisville. Right. And so I will try. The problem is if you go online and look at Aer Lingus, individually it's more already. No, because I will, but airlines don't like groups. They don't like groups. When I put 20 on that plane or 40 on that plane, that's 20 or 40 slots taken by a group that's not going back next year or the year after. So they know they'd rather have individuals on there who will fly again and again and again with them. And that's the problem is when you have a group, you're bumping what would normally be a full plane. So now they've got to look at a second plane. That's why they don't like groups. I'm looking at that. The problem with that is you've got to get to Indianapolis. And you've got to get back from Indianapolis. And for some of our folk, that may not be an option. They're okay getting a ride or having their drive to the Louisville airport. But yeah, we saw that. The same with Covington. You can fly out of Covington. The problem is not flying out of, it's the group rate and what they're charging on a group rate. So that's what we wanted to let you all know. We're working on it. Are we anywhere near panic mode yet? No. And that's probably, to be honest with you, part of the problem. In 2 or 3 months, that price may drop. The Wall Street Journal just ran an article that the airlines are adding something like 16% more flights for the next summer to Europe because it's become the hot spot to go to versus Mexico or wherever else folk go. So that's where we are in the process. What we do ask is that if you are booking your own flight, let me know as soon as you decide we're going to book your own flight. We don't need the info right now, but here's how it works. I'll take United as an example. United tells me, okay, Paul, it's $1,100 for 20 of them. It's $1,600 for the other 20. Here's the itineraries. This is good for 24 hours, and when you accept, you must pay with a credit card in full. Right. Do the math there, sports fans. Delta will take a wire, which is how we've always done it with folk in the past. You just wire transfer it in. But Delta only leaves it valid for 5 business days. They're not going to hang it out there and hold it, if you will. They want you to commit or not. So you can see when I contact United, I have to know exactly who, because when they say commit, I have to give them a list with your name and all your information laid out there. They send me what looks like an Excel spreadsheet, but you put all the info in and boom. Now you can change it. In other words, if I put Ralph Sherman, I can call him and say, that was the wrong name, it's Paul. Or I can say, take off Paul Sherman, put in Father Gary Paget. They will do that. But you are locked at 40. So if 2 people say, oh, we can't go, they're going to return based on how long you are from flight. They're going to return some money, but not all. Not all. So that's why I'm saying, if you can book your own flight, and I'll even, if you want help, I'll meet with you and we can book your flight. But what happens is, when they see that same IP address that it's coming from, they go, shut it down. You're not booking a group through us individually, one at a time. So we kind of have to plan around that. But if you're wanting help, feel free to email me and let me know and just say, hey, can you meet with us and get our flight booked, okay? The crazy thing, folks, have any of you flown Comfort Plus with Delta before? The seats are humane, they're a little wider, and they lean back quite a bit more. The Comfort Plus flight to Dublin is $1,980. They're wanting to put us in the peasantry flight, steerage, yeah, for $1,920. It just makes no sense economically. So that's what I say. If you want it, we'll do it, but you're going to pay a little bit more. Correct. You're going to want to fly out of Dublin. Yep. 29th. Yeah. On the 29th, you're getting up in Belfast, driving in the bus to the airport directly. Early morning. Yeah. It's going to be in the morning. It's not you 10 or 11. Yeah. Now, there are people have emailed me. A lot of people are asking, hey, can I sit by so-and-so on the bus? Can I room with so-and-so? Here's what I'll tell everybody. Take a deep breath, relax, because it's easy to get your anxiety going when you're thinking, oh my God, I don't know anybody, but all I know is Pip, I gotta sit by Pip. Just relax, we'll work it out, and we will do that in the future. That's not where we're at right now, okay? We have 40 rooms, so 2 to a room. We've got enough rooms for 80 folk. 2 of the rooms are singles. In the past, pre-Ukrainian, the guide got a single room, the driver got a single room, and the tour director or tour guide, which is Father Gary, got a single room. So for instance, on our tour, you'd be talking about 5 single rooms. 2, that's it. So Matt, my partner over there, is getting Airbnbs for he and the other 2 and the 2 of the drivers, so that they are not taking the single rooms. The single room is by one of the other guides and Father Gary. Things are just getting tighter. That's all I can tell you. That's out of our control. If we could, we would. If you want a single room, every single hotel has told us, you're going to get a room with 2 beds, and you're going to pay for 2 beds, whether you're in there by yourself or not. And right now, it's looking like €1,500 extra. It's $1.08 exchange rate. So you can figure that math if you want to be on your own. Quite frankly, guys, as Gary and I were talking, 10 o'clock at night, you're going down on that bed one way or another, either full of Guinness or whiskey or exhausted, and you're going to get up at 7 and go, my gosh, I got to be at breakfast in a half hour, and you're going to rush out. So, I understand I don't know this person, but sacrifices you have to make if you're going to be on your own. I don't know what you mean by when do we start looking at it. No, what I'm telling you is right now, what they're quoting us is €1,500 over the 10 days. So it's about €150 a day. Oh, the flights, I'm sorry. That's all right. If I were doing my own flight, to be honest with you, I would say today, yes, I'm doing it, or no, I'm not. But I wouldn't necessarily look for the flight till maybe January or February. That's usually when the price will start to slowly, 20, 30, 40 bucks a week, start climbing. And then usually around, we're going at the end of July, usually around the end of April, it'll bump big time. So you kind of want to get there ahead of time. But we need to know now what you're going to do, because otherwise, once we tell United or Delta we've got 37, I can't call them and add one more. They will not do it. I don't care if they had 100 empty seats, they will not do it.
Just quick thing, I had a text from a couple of folks watching live stream. A couple of the answers, they didn't quite understand the context, so you can't hear the question.
I'll-
But the other thing, do we have a list, or getting a list together? I know there's at least a couple of people looking for a roommate. They'd be happy
Yeah.
to share.
We're going to, when we get probably closer to Christmas time, we're going to put out a master list of here's who's bunking with whom. Then we will have here's 20 people or 18 people who are not bunking with anyone but looking for a roommate. And the way we're going to do it is if you look on there and say, oh, Pip's going, I know Pip, and you two communicate and say, okay, we'll be room. You can email and say, okay, take us off that list. When we get to the end of that list, it's pick a hat out of a hat. So that's how we're going to do the rooming list, okay? And quite frankly, that can be part of the fun is, okay, I'll bring the ponchos, you bring something else, you know, that kind of an exchange. Yes. Check your spam, because we sent those out last week, was it, I believe? When did you register? That's probably why. You weren't on the list until just. This was it. There's been meetings, but we haven't taken notes or put anything down. That's right. But we're not going to tell you. We're going to drive around. No, I will resend the list again. If you don't get it in the next day or two, there's something wrong. In fact, somebody did contact me and said you made an F when I wrote it was. Yes, it was an F and it was supposed to be a T or something like. Okay, I'll check that. So, yeah. Okay. Then the other thing is this. This first down payment, that's fine. As we go to down payment number 2, and specifically number 3, if we don't have it by the date we set, which we're looking at the end of January and then the week after Derby, if we don't have it by then, you're going to be off the list. Because, as so often happens, it drags out and it drags out and it drags out. And what we can't do is be at the airport and you haven't paid your last payment and you tell us, oh, I promise when I get back. Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. And that rarely happens, but it's also a thing where, quite frankly, I'm not going to chase adults to make their payments. It just doesn't work that way. Trying to think if there's anything else.
So you just want us to email you if we're going to arrange our own flights?
Yes, that way I've got a master owned flight list, and I'm putting couples or individuals, I'm putting them in it. And like I said, I've had 3 who are going a day early, and I send them a list of, hey, you're going to be there a day early. here's some things to see and do in Dublin that we're not going to do on the tour that you might enjoy going to see. Well, it was due September 30th, 1250. Yes. That, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Right. I'm glad you said that because there is one upcharge that we already know. Galway, because of the, what's the name of the festival? The Galway Arts Festival, it's not like St. James that's 3 days and over. It's like 3 weeks, okay? But the Galway Arts Festival is going on. We literally beat the bushes. We went 15 miles outside of Galway to try and find hotels that would take 40 rooms, okay? Normally not a problem. And 2 or 3 of them told us, we can let you know in April. Yeah. But the Imperial, which Pip has stayed at before, I'm trying to think of a good way to put it. Imagine if Churchill Downs was next to the Galt House. You're right there. When you step out the front doors, you are looking at Eyre Square, and all the streets to your right go down to the Latin Quarter and the river. It is a primo location. It really, really is. But it's €60 a person per night extra. So you're talking what there, $64.80 or so extra per person for 2 nights. So if it's a couple, it's roughly $125 extra a night. We didn't like it. We tried to explain to them that we had lower pricing, and they said, good, see you there. You know, they weren't buying it. No. Read the terms and conditions on the brochure. They lay out what all the extras possibly could be. $12.50 at the end of January, and the balance due the week after Derby. All these added extras. Yes. You'll get, we send out an invoice. Everybody here got an invoice, didn't they? So, any other questions? It's going to be fun, I'm telling you. I don't care if it hurricanes every day. It is going to be a lot of fun. Sure. If you want to do your own flight and you don't know how, if you'll reach out, I'll meet with you and we'll go through it. And quite frankly, it's one of the reasons I like Delta. United has one too, is the app. If you put the app on your phone, you'll almost go, quit, stop. I don't want any more info. But that's the way it. Yes. That's if you go in a group. If you go individually, it's 1,100. Yeah. Big difference. Big difference. Okay.
I just add one thing. Paul mentioned we're going to be in Galway at the Arts Festival. We're going to be in Eyre Square in the Imperial, which Suzanne and my dad and I stayed at back in 95, 96, somewhere. It really is about as perfect a location because Eyre Square will be filled with vendors, artists, all kinds of things. There's a band stage. It's really neat to be there.
Yeah, it's almost like staying in the Pink House during St. James Art Fair. I mean, it is that close and that. Now, there is a downside to that, folks. Don't think you're going to bed at 7 o'clock at night with your windows open. You know, you're going to have quite the city street scene going on underneath you. But I never would have dreamed the Imperial would have the rooms.
We're gonna go a couple days early to visit family places, and plan to meet up in Galway. So is there just go to the hotel or something? We meet up with you all in Galway on the 18th?
If you will, are you driving? Have you ever driven in Ireland before? Okay, if you have, okay. If you haven't, forget it, but yeah. Probably what we will do is, as we get closer, we will tell you, okay, meet us at this point with your luggage so that we can get you in with the group kind of thing. What we don't do and what hotels hate is when we have a group of 65, 66 people coming in and 3 of them come early and say, I'm with that group that's coming in, because they've got those tickets lined up in a file folder and they €60 per person per night. 2 nights, yeah. I already know you're going. Okay. What we will do is probably more like March. I will ask for those of you that booked your own flights, if you can give me the flight information for each individual. Okay? And there's a method to that madness. March or so, yeah. And I'll wait. I mean, if you tell me, hey, I haven't booked yet, I want to wait till April, or I want to wait till the 1st of May, I'll tell you. If you say the 1st of May, I'm going to tell you you're crazy, but go ahead, and we'll take the info. But that way we have you on the chart of people flying themselves. Yep. I'm sorry, I'm hearing today.
If we want your help to book a flight,
Just email me. And
when should we contact?
just whenever you want to. In other words, if you don't want to book your own, if you want to book your own flight, let me know immediately. But if you want to meet, we can meet in January, February, March. It just does not take that long. I mean, literally, I can probably book you a flight in 5 minutes. You know. And the other thing you have to realize, when you book your own flight, there can be a big difference price-wise. I will just tell you. Last time I went, because I fly Delta One, the sleeper. Last time I went, it was $8,000. But because I was willing to spend 7 hours in the Detroit Sky Lounge, it went down to $3,600. So keep that in mind when you're looking at flights. You know, I don't want to sit in the main cabin, but I don't want to pay a bundle for main or for Comfort Plus. Well, if you have a long layover, is the Comfort Plus less? And then you look at it and say, okay, if I have to lay over in Atlanta for 6 hours, is that worth $1,200? It's a personal choice. Yeah. Yeah. That's, that's the other, that's the other part of it. When I went, the most recent, I didn't just spend 7 hours in Detroit. I went to Amsterdam first, had a 3-hour layover in Amsterdam, then went to Dublin. I got to Dublin at 10 in the morning. I was fresh as a daisy. 3 hours in Amsterdam turned out to be an hour and a half more than I needed, but I had a ball. I'm in Amsterdam. Are you kidding me? You know. Yeah, if that flight had been 2 hours late, I'm still going. If you can, yes. It's not like Ireland has a lot of airport choices. Newark. That's up to you. I've not found extraordinary deals on those type. You're almost, my experience has been, you're almost always better off going to that airline's direct website. And remember what I told you the last time. Every time you log in, that airline says, aha, you were here 2 months ago and we quoted you this price. We're going to quote you the same damn price, maybe a little more this time. But if you go to a different web browser, it won't know you. And so it'll give you a current price. That I don't know. You can try it. If it gives you that same price, guess what? They know you. They do, I believe. But you can use a VPN or something. Right. Okay. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. No, you could book your own flight, all 6 of you, at one time. Right. Now, what I will tell you that I'm glad you brought that up. When we book you as a group, they put you down in the seats that are open. They don't necessarily have a block of seats open. So it's very possible that you're in seat A, strangers in B, husbands in C. So that's also part of the, it's almost like group booking is the youngest child of the family thing. Yeah, give him some shake off clothes and he doesn't get new clothes. That's the best time. Yeah. No. Yeah. 45 is getting to be too late, actually. 45 is getting towards too late nowadays. You're better off at 90. Especially, we're going in the high season. I mean, this is like going to Florida in January or Easter. You're going to pay a bundle. Correct. Right. Premium will sell out faster. But, it's as I've said before, if I didn't have to go with you all, no offense, I'd be there the day before, and I'd meet you at the airport. Just because if I'm already going to pay for airfare, what's another 160 euro for a hotel overnight? And then when I meet you at the airport, my clock is reset. I'm not the Walking Dead. I'm good to go. Oh yeah. There's a lot. there's not an airport hotel, but there's a Marriott, there's a Hilton, all around it. I wouldn't walk it, but they have a shuttle. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. It will be an experience. If you've never been to Dublin, it will be an experience when you walk out of the airport and there's a quarter to a half mile of lanes and they're all full of coach buses. And you're like, where the heck are these people going? But about half those buses, folks, are going to other parts of Ireland, not on a tour. That's the way they get around. So it's pretty neat, really. It really is. And when we get to Galway, that is how you get around, walking. You can get a cab if you want, but you're going to be standing there waiting for people to get out of the way on the street quite a bit, especially during something like the art festival. There will be people everywhere. I'd say more Irish, but you're going to see a lot of people from a lot of different countries. So wear your shorts, wear your baseball hats so they know you're an American. And talk real loud. They go, yeah, that's an American. Which plane? Dublin. When you get through customs, it's kind of like Kroger. They've got, you know at Kroger how they have those plastic strips that hang down that go back in the produce department? They've kind of got a thing like that. And you walk out, and then you turn around, and you come out behind a barricade, and you come out, and you're like, wait a minute. Don't I get strip searched or something here, you know? You're in the lobby, and the lobby is, what, big as this church, if that? And we're going to be standing right there. It'll be me. You can't miss us. You can't miss us. You'd have to try to miss us, okay? And what I'll tell you is, some people may come in Terminal 1. There's Terminal 1, Terminal 2. We'll let you know. Here's where the main group is. So if you land in Terminal 1, just come on over to Terminal 2. We'll wait. I mean, I've got the master list. We're going to be checking you off, loading you up, and then we'll get rolling. Okay? Ponchos. Don't forget ponchos. Will it rain? 200 days a year it rains in Galway. 200. Yep, 180 in Dublin. The amount of rain actually is not that much different than what Louisville gets. But they will have a lot of days where it's just like a light, fine mist that's falling on. So, Cliffs of Moher, it's probably more like a hurricane. Or it's the most gorgeous day 20 minutes later. It changes like that. Then what I will tell you all is, go online and look up stuff ahead of time, because I don't know what each of you might be interested in, but say you are into maritime. You know, there's a maritime museum in Galway. It's walking distance. But if you didn't know it was there, you'd never know it was there. So look that type of stuff up and have for yourself 4 or 5 options so that you're not doing the proverbial, okay, where do we go? You know, have your plan ahead of time, and you'll enjoy the trip so much more. You know, when we go to Northern, remember it's not a euro, it's the British pound sterling. So you'll need that type of currency or a credit card, either way. If you win at the casino, we pay immediately. You can get it at the airport if you want. You can get it at your bank here. It takes 3 to 4 days at the bank, they'll tell you. I take 200, but I use a credit card a lot. You may not want to. And I'll tell you, for instance, if you're at an arts festival, they may say, hey, it's $100 if it's a credit card, or €100 if it's a credit card. It's 80 if you've got €80. So, plan accordingly. I always take an extra collapsible gym bag, because it just seems like, even though I say, hey, I'm not bringing anything back for anybody, I end up with another bag. Yeah, the Northern Ireland will take any pound sterling they can get. I wouldn't take Scottish, but yeah. Just when you go to get your money, if you tell the bank, I'm going to Northern Ireland, I need some currency, they will look it up and get it exactly. I don't know if they'll take Scottish, but you can try. Yeah. Yeah, well, they don't like the British. Yeah. So, now, I'll give you one little fun thing to look up. Joe Plunkett and his wife, Grace. Wife, Grace. Grace. Look up Joe Plunkett and Grace and read their story, because you're going to see where Joe was kept in prison. You're going to see where Joe was shot 10 minutes after marrying Grace. It's an amazing story, and it's a very famous song over there. Okay? Kilmainham Jail, Dublin. They woke the priest up at 2 in the morning. Get up, Father Gary. I want to get married. Any other questions? All right. Plan on seeing you all. We're going to try for our next meeting, say in February, to kind of tighten things up a little bit. Then we'll have a final one towards the end of May. And that should just be a tune-up, making sure everybody's names are proper, making sure who's landing where and when, and making the arrangements to get you. Nope.
I just got back from 9 days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you need to be careful when you use credit cards. You can't use credit card when you're
The tour director, the tour director and the driver's tips will be included on that last bill. That way they know. It's almost like handcuffing them. When they see what they're getting, they're happy as can be. And just so you'll understand, most drivers and guides over there don't get paid diddly squat except by the gratuity. The owners of the companies don't pay them much, if anything. You don't have to. You don't have. The tour director, I'm not going to tip your waiter at the end. No, you're going to have the same guys. In fact, I think Eamon is going to be our second guide, okay? And Eamon is a character. Matt's a character. Matt's a big, jolly, big guy. Eamon is this, you look at him and you think, boy, that's a leprechaun. A little bitty guy, but he is hilarious. I mean hilarious. And Eamon married a woman from Australia who tamed him. and turned him into a gentleman farmer. And he hates the farm. So he goes on and does tours every chance he gets. And he's constantly laughing about, oh, my wife. And we joke with him all the time, you haven't seen her in 7 weeks, you know. But he's a good guide, you'll enjoy him. Right. And we'll look. No, we're not going to get to that level, we'd have to get up around 90 or 80. We're not going to get that high. And we will switch. I mean, we do that all the time where we say, okay, yesterday you guys had Matt, today you got Eamon. Today you guys get Matt, that kind of thing. They're kind of similar though, I mean, it's, so, Eamon tells more fairy tales, I'll tell you that right now. When did I say? As soon as you know. Yeah. As soon as you know that's what you're going to do, just let me know. And that way I can put you on the chart of people who are booking their own. Okay? What I would tell you is if you're a little nervous about it and not sure, go online and see how much a flight is, because you don't have to pay till you get to the end. So you can put into the web page. Right. You got to look at some time or another. So what I'm telling you is if you're nervous about doing it, go on now and look and put in the dates and get to the end where it says check out and you go, nope, okay, I'm good. Because then you know how to do it. You'll see how easy it is. Okay? I think that, good God. 9 or 10? My picture's not in the post office. Okay? And also, I would encourage you to go online and look, what can you bring back? You can't bring back kegs of whiskey, but you can bring back some. Okay?
Paul, just one other thing, I think most folks may know, but some of the new folks that are coming on late, all of the attractions that are listed that we've had in the brochure online and so forth, things like Cliffs and More and all that, that's all covered.
Yes. All the entry fees, all of the entry fees for all of the attractions that are listed are covered. That's part of your price, as are the first night dinner, the last night dinner, and I think there's one other one. I think there were 3 total. Matt Rafters, that's it. That's it. See? Jerry, Sister Monica will not put up with this. The first and last night dinner and then dinner in Kilkenny at Rafter Dempsey's are going to be covered, as well as all the entry fees to the attractions. The nuns at Kylemore Abbey, 19 million is what they make a year. Oh yeah. And when you see them walking around, there's only like 3 of them. You think, oh, those nuns, they're so sweet. They jingle. When they walk, they jingle. But when you get there, you'll see why. It takes a lot to keep that place up and running. Okay, anything else? Thank you all. I wanted to let you know about the flights, so if you could book your own and save the money.
steps to the choir loft are on the